Yo, what's going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of Corporate Counterculture, and today we are talking about investing in skills, investing in mindset, development, personal development. I know it's a cliche term, personal development, but we really want to talk about that skill set and your mindset. Those are two important things, especially as a salesperson. So overall, we've all had those conversations with leadership or amongst our peers of how to get better. But actually, like, who takes that serious? Brian, what do you think? Like, are you someone who is big on investing in yourself to get better at your profession?
Yes, but not as much as I should be, and I'll
Okay.
admit to my flaws right there. I mean, I guess this is a perfect way to end the series in the way of planning for next year, and this is the idea here is to outplan your last year um, by bringing a new version of yourself to it, as opposed to being the same old self, but hoping for new results. So when I look back, there's always more I could have done for myself. On my own time, on professional time, on my own dime, or even on the company's dime. But two things that I think are huge helps, and something I want to focus on for myself next year is investing my own time, reading, picking up a different topic of a book, or a doesn't necessarily have to be salesy, but something that always interests me is negotiation tactics. It's psychology tactics, things like that. And then, some actual classroom training,
Yeah.
whether it's prospecting training, whether it's, deal closing training, whether it's negotiation training, but like that live in-person training, there's no replacement for that.
No.
So you can watch all the YouTube videos, you can read all the books, but sitting across from somebody that is now going to bring up objections, is sitting across from somebody that is now going to, be a tough person to train with. It preps you for those real world scenarios, and I think that there's always some benefit to actually investing. Whether it's one day, like an 8-hour day, or whether it's like a 3-day program or something like that. Those types of environments prove to be very, very beneficial in my experience.
I love that. This is a question that I always ask people who like training and sales training and personal development. What type of environment or coach do you lean towards, or do you take a liking to, when you want that personal development, when you want to strengthen your sales muscles on a scale of Tony Robbins to Andy Elliott? Like, on a scale of, like, what's it? Bedros, I forgot his last name. I'm messing
Oh,
up.
like Coolian or something.
Coolian to
Yeah.
Andrew Tate. Like, what is your what, or do you do like the mythical, the secret? Like, what's your bag for sales training and mindset development?
So I've heard really good things about the Tony Robbins stuff. I actually know somebody that spent 5 figures on Tony Robbins training and development and coaching and stuff like that. Um, and I think that's far more attractive to me than the Andy Elliott side of things. Like, there is nothing about a pushy salesman that is attractive to me. I don't care who you are. It's too easy to be uber aggressive in this, certain types of environments and force a deal down somebody's throat. And it's completely different than trying to establish a long-term reputation in a particular industry or within a large organization, such as like what we're part of, right? So for us, it's not so much, hey, I need to close this deal right now, or it's off the table. For us, it's, hey, I want to establish a relationship so that in 12 months or 24 months, the next person that comes into this organization, or the next time I meet this person, they tell somebody else about, what a great experience we had. And that's far more valuable to me. So the whole Andy Elliott thing, completely like the antithesis of what I try to do in sales. Now, I haven't seen tons of I think his name is Bedros Keuilian. I haven't seen tons of his stuff. I've seen some of Andrew Tate's stuff. I probably lean away from Andrew Tate. He says some things that are controversial just for the sake of it being controversial. And also I don't understand what exactly he sells. It's like this weird like conceptual product. I don't know. But in general, that's just not at all my type of thing. I think the Tony Robbins, the training that I did myself at one point was the Miller Hyman style training. The, what's that guy, dude? Fanatic, Jeb Blunt training, that type of stuff is what makes sense to me. The whole overall solution selling.
So I know you're more of a Jeff Blunt guy, and there's the variation. There's the Andy Elliott's, there's the Bedros Keuilian, there's the Tony Robbins. I know you like the Tony Robbins. There is a guy in Florida. I think he's from Southern California. Patrick Bet-David. He has Valuetainment.
Yeah, up my alley. That's
your
my
alley.
dude. Yeah.
Yo, so Patrick Bet-David. If people look at Valuetainment from when he first started, bro, he has some of the best sales content, the best. He has this story, and I actually used this when I was at UPS. Funny enough, he tells this. He had this trick, and I don't know if it's true or not, but he said it, so I'm just saying what he said. But he
seems to be a stand-up dude.
Dude, I think he's super stand-up because the stories he tells. You know how when people tell a story and it's real because you actually live in that area and the stuff he's saying. So I'm not doubting his story. I just can't remember if he said he did it or if it was just a strategy. But long story short, he was saying he mailed a shoe box with one shoe in it and put a letter in it and said, now I got my foot in the door. If you allow me to get in the door, I can show you this, like the rest of the value and all the things we can do. Dude, I legit showed my boss that at UPS and I was like, this is what I want to do. And at the time, my boss got a kick out of it because he had never seen Patrick Bet-David. And so he was like, no, dude, you got to do it. And so shout out to Zari for letting me do this. So I sent a shoe box with one shoe in it. The guy got a kick out of it, and I got in the door and got some business. So
that's hilarious. That's such a good idea.
But his video, he had multiple strategies or multiple examples in that video. I can't remember which video it was, but this was back when he was on the chalkboard. I think this was like before he interviewed Kobe and Magic Johnson. This is way, way, way back, dude. When he was still, I think, in Southern California, or he might have been in Texas at that time. But yeah, so I love Patrick Bet-David stuff. I like Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins had a real good example where he was talking about helping train the military with shooting. Mm-hmm. And this taught me how to stack small wins too. Instead of having them shoot from far back, he had them get up very, very close and then slowly but surely adjusted their distance.
That makes total sense.
Dude, oh man, I love stuff like that, dude. So yeah, I'm definitely a fan of those two guys. I'm right there with you. I think some of the other guys, the more gritty talk is for people who really need a kick in the pants or they need something jarring. Because some people are like that. Like I have a couple of friends who used to play football. They need somebody to yell at them to it does something emotionally and mentally.
Really?
I don't know if it's because they've been cracked in the head a few times. But when a Bedros Keuilian speaks or when an Andrew Tate speaks, like, bro, their eyes get wide, their like veins come out, it's like turning into Hulk for them, and it motivates them. So I think I kind of bounce around and look at all types of things, but yeah, I definitely am a fan of Patrick Bet-David, Tony Robbins. There's this other guy too, Matt Zapala, 7 Figure Squad on YouTube. Yeah, check him out.
Stuff.
He's pretty good
I haven't
too.
Seen his stuff. I like even like a Simon Sinek. Granted, Simon Sinek is more, it's not salesy, but it's more like cultural. More type of like environmental stuff and like building a good team and being a good leader. And so it's more so what you should aspire to be, right?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. So Simon Sinek helps me center myself to even deal with this bullshit.
Yeah. 100%, man. 100%. It's like, look, dude, this is the environment that you're in. This is what's important. Bro. This is what doesn't matter. This is what does matter. And it's kind of like, at the end of the day, what's more important to you. Is it the people? Is it the dollars? Is
For
it,
sure.
the recognition, or is it just the trust? And so all that stuff is super, super valuable. And it is helpful to read and listen to all of those different perspectives for sure.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what you're trying to do, and there's no one right way to invest in yourself, right? Like if we're talking about, hey, let's bring a new version of myself into 2026. What could that be, right? Like, okay, I haven't been as committed to waking up when I've said I'm going to wake up. I haven't been as committed to eating clean. I haven't been as committed to showing up for my family and being involved in my kids' sports or whatever that might be. So it's not necessarily, hey, it has to be sales training. Like that's not the case, right? But in general, you have to fill your own cup to be able to pour into others. And so there's got to be something there. And usually if you don't have a good, home life balance, or like a healthy home environment, it's hard for you to have a good work environment, be part of a good like work kind of output. And so there's all of that goes into it. You know what I mean? And so for me, it's like trying to develop more of a reading habit, which I have struggled with for many years. I'll admit that, for many, many years. But if I pick up a good book, I know I won't put it down. I just have to pick it up at first. And even that small step, right? They're talking about taking small steps, like in the Tony Robbins training. You take that small step, you start close, and then you kind of work your way up. Hey, man, step number 1, pick up the book. There you go. Step number 2, read the cover. Step number 3, read the first chapter. And then kind of take off from there. And so it's little wins, man. Little wins, little things that can really turn into huge improvements over the course of a year.
Absolutely, dude. What as a salesperson, what do you think is one technical skill that people should improve on, even if they've done it before? Like, what's the one you think, like, hey, every year you got to at least think about improving on this or working on this?
I think the biggest thing, and it's so easy to get caught up, is just like active listening.
Yeah.
I think a lot of sales is understanding just like the emotional body language type of listening that is required in having a successful meeting or project or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even something as simple as you sit down across from a prospect and you say, hey, what's your plan here? Or what's your pain point? And they say, well, this costs a lot and that costs a lot and this takes a lot of time. And then you can say, okay, I'm hearing that this is what's important to you. And then you can either get a correction, right? No, that's actually not what it is. Or you can get a confirmation. And that's just a simple listening tactic that just says, hey, let me repeat this back to them in my own words so that I understand what they're actually saying and that they understand what I understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that can save you a lot of time and a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of, like going down a path and having to potentially redirect it in a week or later on at some point because you misunderstood something. That's a small example, but that's very, very important. There's also the body language aspect of things, right? Like you go into a meeting. I had this happen last week. I went into a meeting, didn't know who I was going to meet with. And it was all about understanding who are the real players, who's pulling what strings, who's in charge of which decisions, what's important to who. You know what I mean? And so I was just like, okay, great. I'm hearing, hey, Mr. CEO, I'm hearing that the most important thing to you is cost. Hey, Mr. Production Manager, I'm hearing the most important thing to you is flexibility. And, and then there was this third person, I actually don't know his title, but I was like, hey, I understand that for you, you want to get the best deal, right? Like you want to have good technology, but you also want to get the best deal that's out there in terms of like the overall market. So everybody has a different thing. And then to the champion that introduced us, that, hey, what's important to you, man? Like a successful project so that you look good. Okay. You know what I mean? So, and that takes practice. I can look back 10 years ago where I'd be afraid to be vulnerable and saying, hey, this is what I'm understanding. Can you please confirm or correct what I'm understanding? That's a vulnerability. And it, depending on your tenure within sales and your comfort in front of a prospect, sometimes you get so caught up in talking. There's no time for silence. There's no time for a back and forth question, for like confirmation, that type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all that stuff is just little developments over the years that can really add up. And what this takes too, in my opinion, what this takes is a moment for you to reflect and be like, okay, what has gone well and what hasn't gone well? As we've been saying for the last few episodes, right? Like, this has gone well, this hasn't gone well. Let's address that. Let's take a deeper dive in that. And I think one of the best ways that you can do this is what Jordan Peterson says. And it's sit in silence, focus on yourself, and really think about what needs to change. Like, you know what you have to do differently. And so it just takes some time alone.
Dude, time alone sucks.
The voices get louder when
voices
you're alone.
Get loud, bro. No, that's good, man. That's good, dude. Active listening, I think, is super important because as a salesperson, man, we all the time convince ourselves that this deal is going through or that we're presenting the right information. We schedule extra calls because we don't know that the person's not interested or that we're not presenting the right information to accelerate the deal. We don't disqualify the customer quick enough because we aren't listening the right way. And that's all, part of the environment of, one, I need stuff in the pipeline. So I may want this to stay in the pipeline because I need something to work on, right? Or I really like this company. If I can get them, then this would be great. So there's a lot of things where you may not be listening. You may just be doing something you really want to do. So I think that is important. I think for me, the technical skill that a lot of times I try to challenge and question working on outside of active listening, because I think I work on active listening frequently, because I get into the sales thing very quickly. Once you get onto a bunch of different calls and start wearing different hats, you just start jumping on calls, right?
Yeah.
So then I have to start sitting back, and I always ask myself throughout a call, has the customer repeated himself? That means I'm like, oh shit, I'm fucking up. Like, I'm not listening, right? So if I hear them repeat themselves, I'm like, damn, I made a right turn instead of a left. I didn't do the right thing. So outside of active listening, for me, storytelling. And I don't mean like fancy storytelling, just like being able to say things clearly in a way that you're comfortable with and being okay. Because you may do a cold call and the person you talk to may not get what you're presenting. They don't understand what you're selling, why you're selling it, or why you're talking to them. But sometimes you also have to stand on that. Like, we provide this solution and this is what it does and this is how it helps the company. Oh man, I don't know if we need that. Okay. Hey, great. Do you know somebody who is in one of these departments that thinks about these solutions? Because if you kind of get into enough rejections, you start to slowly try to adjust things to make your being rejected feel better. Yeah. Instead of like, nah, this is what I'm selling, bro. This is what it is. So if you keep giving me hard no's, fine. But I can't soften my conversation so now we're dancing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I try to always audit my storytelling and say, all right, well, he was confused because I messed that one up. I did. Yeah. But the other times I always try to correct and say, nah, hey bro, this is what it is. Man, why don't we sell this?
Right.
We sell this. This is why people like it. All right, these are the people that use it. This is why they use it. These are some of the biggest people in your industry that use it. I really get into the frame of I got to make sure I have my storytelling down and be able to kind of stand on that, because half of the game is, outside of the cold calling and being rejected, is really just knowing your stuff and being able to get that message across properly. And I think when you jump into the hoops of cold calling and prospecting, you become what is that? Dang, I'm losing the word, but you become such a chameleon that sometimes what you're selling sounds so different by the end of the day. And you're like, what am I doing? So I try to keep my storytelling consistent.
No, that's important though, and that's truly an art form too. Like the best salespeople are the ones that are very, very good storytellers.
Yep.
Because you are able to create an environment, create like this picture of what their process could look like with your technology. And
Yeah.
whereas they can't even imagine not having your technology. You know what I mean? I mean, even something as simple as like open-ended questions and things like that, you are able to get more and more information out of the customer. Sometimes you just don't have the right type of questioning. I know that that's something else that I struggle with. Storytelling, for sure. I agree with you. That's something that I can work on without a doubt. For me, open-ended questions, creating a world or creating a line of questioning in which the customer is having to explain more in depth, that type of thing, as opposed to yes, no. You know what I mean? Like, I've already mentioned that I hate those stupid yes questions. Like, I don't use that. Oh, does this sound really good to you if you save $1 million a year? Yeah, of course that sounds good. You know what I mean? So like the open-ended questions where the customer's explaining something and like you're trying to decipher through their eyes and the first things that they come back to, and if they repeat a particular point, maybe that's really important to them, or maybe you didn't ask the right question. So the right line of questioning is important too. That's something that takes a skill for you to develop as well. Negotiation is something too that, like, as a sales guy, you just want to discount just to get it, right? But sometimes it's not that. It took me a long time in my last life. It took me a long time to learn the art of giving but asking for something in return. Customers like, oh, it's too expensive. Can you discount? Yeah, I can. In return for this discount, can you give me a review? Would you agree to being a good customer site for other people around you to come visit? You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I can give you this, but I also need this in return. So even something as simple as that, and not jumping to, yeah, Mr. Customer, I'll give you whatever you ask for. You know what I mean? Just to close this. Like, you also have to be comfortable in your own skin, confident in your solution, confident in your ability to convey the right solution, convey the overall, success of the deal and all that stuff. So whereas the discounting just for the sake of discounting isn't even a thing, right? And that's something that like a Miller Hyman training is really good about, is addressing red flags, focusing on your strengths, addressing your weaknesses, that type of thing. And the entire thing, and I did this Miller Hyman training like 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. One of the things that really stood out to me was pricing was never an issue in their training. Like, and we brought it up. I remember I was with the VP of sales at the time. We were doing it together. And he was like, well, what about price? And what if a customer asks about this and asks about that? And the trainee or the trainer was really, really good. And he was just like, look, if you do all these things correctly, price should not really be an issue, because what you're doing is you're addressing each individual's, pain points. And so that's the type of thing too. And it takes all of it. And like, as a salesperson, you want to be well-rounded, right? Like, you want to have multiple different tricks in your bag, multiple different tools in the toolbox for you to be able to respond to different scenarios, different situations. And that's for sure, a point of improvement for myself that I know of is, the negotiation, is the question asking, is the active listening, the storytelling, all those things.
Yeah.
Could for sure benefit my overall sales performance, no question.
Dude, I hear you on that. That's good, actually. Yo, you had a really good quote you said to me. I can't remember it, but what was it? Like, close this out. Tell us what that quote was. You were talking about investing or something, or last year. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. So we started off with, you can't outplan your last year if you're bringing the same version of yourself to it. So you can't produce the same or new results based on the same inputs, right? Like, it's also the definition of insanity, according to, I think it was Albert Einstein, right? You can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different outcomes.
Got you. Yeah, man, that's important, dude. Like, could you really expect different results if you're doing the same thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what would you say is the number one thing you should start with when looking at when thinking through a quote like that? Like, where do you start? What's the number one place you start when trying to work through how not to be the same version of yourself?
Probably like being very, very introspective, looking within and understanding, hey man, this is where I messed up. If I can look back to a specific call that went awry, a specific close or a specific sale that didn't close, maybe there was a highly competitive situation and I lost it. Going back to that and identifying everything that you did wrong. You know what I mean? Not a good listener, no good questions, didn't address the right pain points, didn't reach the decision makers, didn't, provide the right story, right? All that stuff is valid areas of concern for you to address in the new year. And so it's, maybe it is reading a book. It starts with reading a book, and then maybe from that book, man, I really like, again, we'll touch on Jeb Blunt. I really liked reading his book. Let's see what the live class looks like, or let's start with the Zoom class. It's a little bit less expensive depending on your overall budget for the year. Let's start with the Zoom class. Man, I like the Zoom class. It's pretty interactive, even though it was remote. I wonder how much more interactive a live class would be. And then you go to a live class. And so you could do baby steps that way. You could do a deep dive, full on week conference somewhere. Man, I've heard this. You can take directly from people that you look up to, right? Like there's this guy in our organization or a guy in a different organization that you came across, or a guy on LinkedIn, and he talks about some miraculous course that he went through. Maybe it's just hearing, right? Like a top performer did this. I want to be on the level of that top performer. This is where I have to go. This is what I have to do, right? And kind of follow the steps of like, you don't have to necessarily repeat the same mistakes and jump through the same hoops if somebody's kind of giving you a look on the inside and kind of giving you a cheat sheet to kind of how potentially accelerate something.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Yeah. Dang. I mean, you kind of said it all.
I feel like it's just been me.
No, dude. No, you killed it. Like this is definitely your thing. Like if y'all don't know Bryan, Bryan is a sales trade, like technical skills, personal development, like savant. I'm like into it, but I think I'm like wide net on it. I kind of dance around and date all of the personal development coaches and trends, and I like them all, but I don't think I fully dive deep into anything outside of like challenger sale and spin selling, which is so old that we don't even want to talk
those are exactly the things that I need to take a deeper dive on, because like I've done the self-help stuff. I've done the Atomic Habits. I've done one that's really interesting is like a give and take. I've done deep work read all these books, right? Read deep work by Cal Newport, and started reading. I read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've read what was the other Cal one? So Good They Can't Ignore You. That one's really good too. Really, really good too. So like I've done more the self-help stuff because I'm try to be pretty good about addressing the stuff that I feel like is holding myself back.
Dude,
but it's not sales specific, and that's the key.
But see, that's the thing where I'd say like now those are far more important than the types of sales training I got back in the day, because of the generations have changed in the way they communicate. I mean, even like, yes, you can sell. And so I'm not saying that spin selling and challenger sale don't work. They do work, but the layers that we have now, whether it's Zoom or are people hybrid or remote, and you've got the old generation, which definitely likes to spin and challenger sell when I'm communicating and prospecting with them, versus new generations who want to read everything online before they even talk to you, and they want y'all to just send them information and they make their decisions almost without the salesperson. A lot of time there is more of a transformative conversation that needs to happen when you're speaking to these people, and it is more about energy, emotion, like you said, body language. It's a very different sell now because these people are so educated before you get to them. They can look at your case study. They can look at a company who's done it. They can look at stuff online. There's plenty of reviews. You've got videos online now. Like by the time they see you and your presentation, they've already seen your presentation.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So yes. I'd argue like, yeah, the stuff you're doing is very relevant for these times. Whereas the stuff that I kind of trained on was super relevant. It was the only way to make a sale back then. You know what I mean? Like you had to have these tools to even communicate to the 5 decision makers and all that. But now, man, there's so many different personalities and points of marketing and how people get to stuff. It's completely different. So, nah, that was it, man. This was good, dude. Say that quote one more time though before we leave, so that people can understand it.
You can't outplan your last year if you're bringing the same version of yourself to it.
Got it. So yes, guys, you can't outplan your last year if you're bringing your same version of yourself to it. So like, comment, subscribe, ask us what we do for sales if you have any questions of how to get prospects, but tell us what you do as well. And then tell us what you're doing for next year and what technical skills or mindset development you're working on. And until then, this was Corporate Counterculture. See you guys next time.
See y'all next time.